Good day, guys. Welcome to today's live stream. So I just entered this trade not too long ago, just trying to keep the streams as short as possible, not wanting it to go on for too long. However, I entered this trade just, let's see here, it says basically about 5 minutes ago, right? 8 minutes ago or so, I entered this trade to go short, right? And as you can see, the price is coming down. However, it is at my liquidity B zone, right? Now, this is an area where the price could bounce. I am looking to see if the price will come a little deeper, right, into this zone. I did already move my stop into break even on this trade, right? So I'm looking to see if we come a little deeper into the B zone, if we bounce out of it to create a correction. And if we don't bounce aggressively in this B zone, we could be coming down to the C zone, right? Because I'm thinking that there is a possibility that, you see this over here on the 1 hour chart, I'm thinking this could flush to the downside. And if this could flush to the downside to resume the selling pressure, the aggressive selling pressure, then we could be seeing price get all the way down to this level by the end of the day, right? So maybe even a little bit more. I kind of was a little bit conservative on that profit target, right? So I'm just going to watch it and see how it's going to behave. And I'm going to try to see how much of this move to the downside I can secure, right? If we at least get to the C zone, then I would say, okay, let me see what's going to develop at the C zone based on time, right? So volatility could come back into the market around 2 p.m., 2:30 or so, like in the next hour or so. So that could push the price up. It could also push the price down. We will see. So the next area that we need to pay attention to would be this area here around the C zone, right? Because that is where we have a trend line for that move up. So price could come here and it could bounce back to the upside, or we could have a bigger correction at that C zone, right? So when price gets to that C zone, if we don't cut through that trend line, I'm going to close out my trade, wait to see if it creates a bigger correction, and then try to sell it again. Okay. So right now, it looks like it's slowing down. As you can see, it's kind of slowing down. So there's a possibility it could start a correction to the upside. Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like it's doing. I'm going to bank this. I'm going to bank this, and I'll wait. Okay, so that's what I'll do. I'll bank, I'll wait. I'll see if it creates a bigger correction, and then we'll try to sell it again. Okay. So that's what I'll do. I'll bank, I'll wait, I'll see if it creates a bigger correction, then I'll try to sell it again. So let it go sideways. Let it do its dance. Okay? Let it do its thing, like over here. Let it do its thing like that. It created what we like to call a wedge, right? Some of you guys know this as a wedge formation, right? Kind of like a triangle. Right? So it did that wedge thingy. And let me just try to help you guys to see it a little clearer. So this is like a wedge, which is kind of like a triangle. Broke down, hit this zone, bounced off it. Now we're going to look for another corrective formation to sell that corrective formation again. Okay? So let's see what it forms or how it forms. We're going to try to read that corrective formation, trend it. We don't need to understand all of the internal waves of it, but we're going to trend it once it does something that creates a trend. And when I say does something that creates a trend, what I'm talking about is if it does this, it pulls down and it comes back and breaks the high, right? If it comes back and breaks the high, that's going to be good for creating a trend. If it doesn't break the high, at least it created a swing low, and then we pull our trend line on it. So it needs to come back at least maybe 50% of the pullback, right? If it comes back, if it goes down, pulls back about 50% of this pullback to the downside, then we trend that move to the upside and see what it creates. Okay? When it breaks down, we sell it again. All right, so the bars are getting a little bit small here. That's something to look at. That means it may want to pull back. So let's see how it pulls back. I'm looking for something like this. And then we look to trend that. And we look to sell that break, right? And that break is, we're going to sell that break to the C zone. So let's wait, let's watch. I didn't want it to end up pulling back too aggressive and, you know, we end up getting stopped out at break even, because you don't know necessarily how deep these corrections are going to be, right? I do have a way of checking that though. I do have a way of assuming how deep that correction is going to be. Right, and what I do is I use my Fibonacci and I measure the 1 hour bar. And I use the 618. Let me just try to create a little zone. So this is 618, 50. All right, so good. So that little purple zone is what I'm going to look at. Right, so you guys can see that. If the price pulls back into that little purple zone that I see here on the 1 hour time frame, I'm going to be looking at seeing if we do have a trend, and then I'm going to try to sell from around that area, especially if we get a trend break. So I'm thinking this might be the furthest the price might pull back to if it's going to move back to the downside. That's between 50% and 618 of the 1 hour bar. Price likes to go back into the body of the bar. Okay, so we're looking at maybe this correction lasting about maybe an hour or so, right? We'll see. It could last about an hour unless the price wants to push down it really, really aggressive. And the pullback that we've gotten so far might just be, how can I say, maybe 38% or so. It is pulling back. And it is looking aggressive. We'll see how it's going to behave. This is just the first bounce, right? So this is our first bounce. Normally we get a second bounce. So that second bounce could be more in the middle here that I was looking for. Like come down here, then bounce back, and then we'll look for a new correction, right? A new corrective formation. So let's just watch. Let's see what happens. Is this the area where they're going to create the corrective formation, or are they going to come a little deeper into the zone before they create the corrective formation? Getting a bounce, and we do have a higher low, right? So let's see how that plays out, if it's going to confirm. We did close on the 1 minute. I want this to give me a nice corrective formation. Once we get a nice corrective formation, we're going to be in that trade. All right, so I'm assuming this might be the corrective trend that is being created, okay? I'm just assuming this for now. If we break the high, that's going to confirm, or at least match the high, then that is going to confirm that this might be that corrective trend. that we're looking at. We're pushing down again. Okay, that's the first breakout, and that is the second trend. I'm looking for that second breakout of that downtrend, and that's going to let me know that very highly likely the correction has started its next wave. So then this is going to be wave 1, this is wave 2, this is wave 3 coming here. Okay? Let's see how that's going to unfold. Okay, they're pushing down some more. All right. So all of this in here and this could be the correction possible. And we're getting another push down. Let's see what's going to happen. I'm thinking this is not the corrective formation yet. So remove that. I don't think this move off the A zone is quite complete yet. I think we'll still get another bounce. And I'm going to look at the next bounce to trend it and try to sell off the correction. So over here, this zone is no longer valuable. I'm going to have to do that again. So far, we're about almost flat. Let's see if we get that next push to the upside. Okay, we're getting the next push to the upside, which is perfect. And I'm going to create this 50% 618 zone. Good. And I'm going to watch to see if the price comes into that zone, right? We'll see it here pulling back. The wick will come to around that level. It pushed back aggressive. It's very aggressive to the upside. So we know now that that is the second breakout. Now we just need to see if we form a corrective formation. So far, this is a flat. Right, so the price is flat. We're just going to watch on the 15-minute for now. Just watch it on the 15-minute time frame for now, just to see how that pullback is coming. Almost engulfing this previous down bar. All right, we're getting a red bar engulfing the previous green bar. Let's see how that's going to close. We're going to watch it carefully. This correction could still grow and become bigger. So it does not have to be small. It could end up becoming a big corrective formation. So I'm going to watch to see how this last wave of the correction 1, 2, 3, how this wave behaves. So if this wave starts to create a nice corrective type wave, then I'll be able to trend that wave and sell the breakdown of that wave. So that will give me an earlier entry, because as you can see, my entry would be all the way down here for price to break down. And I'm not really liking that entry. It's like selling at the bottom, like the really, really bottom. So I don't really like that one. So I'm going to allow this move up to unfold. So far, we have pretty much reached that 50% level of that retracement of that 1 hour bar. And you can see the price is pulling back a little bit aggressive there. Let's see how this is behaving. I know this. Okay, 1 second. So far, I know this is the wave up. Price could kind of go sideways a little bit and continue pushing up slowly. So this trend could evolve. We'll watch and see. But so far, this is kind of what we have. This move to the upside. I'm going to watch to see if it hits the zone that we have here on the 15-minute time frame, which is 50% to 618 of the 1 hour retracement. Sorry, the 1 hour bar to the downside. So this is the retracement of the 1 hour bar. Okay, so let's see how price is going to behave around this level. If it's going to start to turn to come back to the downside. So getting a sell, the higher we get the sell, it's going to be the less risk on our trade. We're getting a red bar. We pretty much hit that 50% fib retracement, right? Yeah, 50% fib retracement. Let's see. We don't want to jump the gun. We want to take our time. Take our time. Let's see if we see something that is a bit convincing. This wave could still extend to the upside. All right, we kind of gapped down. So I'm not going to be too excited to sell that because we gapped down. So that means that price needs to come back to fill that gap. So if it comes back to fill that gap now, we'll be stuck in a correction. Price will come back, maybe even stop us out. So let's see if we fill that gap first and continues to go down. This would be a nice sell, but because of that gap, I'm not excited to jump into it. It left a gap. If you want to see the gap, there is the gap right there. Right? You can see the gap. There is the gap right there. Because of that gap, I'm not excited to jump in. That gap is telling me that possibly price may want to come back to fill that gap. They could leave the gap behind, right? So they could leave the gap behind. But the odds of leaving the gap behind is not very high right now since they're so close to it. So I would have to see them maybe break down first. And if they break down first and they hit the C zone, they may come back correct to fill the gap. So I'd like to wait and see if they're going to fill that gap first. And then I'm going to trend again and see if we get a better corrective formation to sell off of, because right now we're still in correction. We're still inside correction. So with me seeing that early sign, if that gap was not there, if that gap was filled already, I would be selling early, right? But the gap is there, it's not filled. So I'm going to have to wait. I'm going to wait and see if price is going to come back to fill that gap. There are so many different possibilities that can happen in this sideways movement that the price is in that would blow your mind. When you're using the Elliott wave theory, it's not as simple as we think. It is complex. It's very complex. Price will always evolve. The market makers will always evolve the patterns. They will change them. So you have to be able to see all these little things that could hint to you that they may want to trap you. So I want to see them come fill that gap. And then I'll look for a reason to go short, right? After they come up, fill that gap, I'm just going to adjust my trend line, this one. I want to see them come and at least fill the gap first. But as I said, the short, it was a good setup to go short, but because they're flat and they left the gap, that means that we're still inside of a consolidation and they could do anything. They could come down here and then go back up because the gap is there, right? So that means that this corrective formation could grow, it could evolve, get bigger, take more time, okay? So hit that subscribe button, guys, hit that notification bell, like the video, help out the YouTube algorithm. Remember, anyone who stays with the live stream until the very end, I will give you a vacation package. To get that vacation package, you just need to be a subscriber. You need to have liked the video and hit that notification bell. Send me a screenshot and I'll give you that vacation package. Quite simple. At the end of the live stream, I'll let you know where to send that screenshot, okay? So there's price pushing back to the upside again, most likely attempting to come fill that gap. So guys, about the Elliott wave theory, it is a very powerful forecasting tool, but it's not something that I would say that you can use to trade, as in you use it to forecast, and then you know that a certain wave is supposed to come from a certain point, and then you're going to, execute your trade at that point because you know that that wave is supposed to come at that area. No, that's not the wisest way to do it, because the market makers know that the wave is supposed to come there and they know that buyers are going to come in. So if you come to buy that wave, they are not going to give it to you. They're going to only allow that wave to form when there is more sellers in the market. So if everyone is selling, then that wave will form. So they will try to induce the sellers and then give that wave to the upside. Or if it's in a corrective formation, they will evolve that corrective formation so many times to the point where everyone's going to be confused. So when they decide to move, you guys know that there is like the triangle formation. Let's use the triangle formation, for example. And traditionally, it's told that if you're in a triangle, let's say you're in an uptrend and you get a triangle, you're supposed to buy the breakout to the upside of that triangle, right? How many of you have tried doing that? Buy the breakout of that upside triangle. Let me try to just draw it on our chart. Let's say price is moving up, right? And price starts to do this, right? And it creates sort of like a triangle type formation, right? My drawing is terrible. Sorry. You're taught that if it breaks out, you should buy, right? How many of you have actually tried to do that? How many times have you seen it break out and you try to buy to catch more upside off that, right? You know what normally happens? Sometimes it doesn't even break to the upside. It may just break down, right? Like that. Why is that happening? Because everyone is buying, and they're buying early from inside of the triangle. So because they're buying from inside of the, because they're buying, yes, because they're buying from the inside of the triangle, it doesn't even break out. It just breaks down, stops them out, right? So now let's say you're not buying early, right? There's not enough buyers inside. What are they going to do? They're going to push it out of the triangle, break out to the upside. And as soon as everyone starts to jump in for those longs with their stops below these levels, what are they going to do? They're going to just take this and just bring it back to the downside like that, right? How many of you have seen that happen? That happens very often. So they bring it down like that. Everyone gets stopped out and they start going short. What they do? Bring it back up, right? How many of you have seen that? Do you know what that is going to become? According to the Elliott wave theory, this will just become a flat formation. See that? And that flat formation is going to look more like this. Let me just try to, right? Right? It's going to look more like this. It's a three-wave pattern. Down, up, up. So they use one pattern, manipulate it to stop out the buyers and stop out the sellers and run the price in the original direction it was supposed to go by turning it into a different formation, right? So just giving you guys a little bit of tips as we go along. It's not just about watching me trade. I'm also trying to educate you guys so that you guys know what to look out for in the market. And by seeing me do it live in front of you, I'm going to be setting a good example. I'm doing my best to set a good example for you guys. Follow the rules. So what you're looking at on my screen, these areas, these blue shaded areas that say liquidity zone B, liquidity zone C, liquidity zone D, liquidity zone A, and so on. This is my technique. So I developed this technique, and it's called my liquidity zones, right? The method is called the Phillips liquidity map. Okay, so basically it's mapping out zones where market makers are going to create liquidity in the market, right? And they're going to move price to those levels. So right now, they moved price to this liquidity zone. Price bounced, brought it down, grabbed more liquidity, got to this liquidity zone. They're bouncing now. What are you going to expect to happen next? They're bouncing, and see this? This was supposed to go down like this, right? But they didn't do that. I saw early that they left a gap behind. They left a gap somewhere here. I think that gap might be filled now. But look at what they're doing. See how they're moving? Sideways, right? So that sideways move, remember price was supposed to just break down, and that didn't happen. So this sideways move that we're looking at is possibly them coming back to fill the gap and creating this sideways type channel, and then they're going to look to break down from that to get to this level, right? That's a possibility as well. If they come back and retest this high, it means that they're just going to, let me just try to clear this. If they come back and retest this high, it means that they're going to do something like this, come back like this, possibly go up again, right? Or when they come down, instead of going up, they just come down to this zone like that because they're going to trap buyers. Okay, they're going to try to trap buyers. So we don't know exactly what traps they're going to set right now, but what we do know is how price action works. And so we're going to have to watch, we're going to have to monitor what they're doing. And that is why I like to use trend lines, because trend lines give me that edge, right? They give me that edge. So for example, here, I like to make sure my trend lines are not too aggressive into the price, right? I try to put them on the very wick or even just a little bit off the wick just to, how can I say, what's the word I'm looking for? Just to account for that situation where the price might just, where the trend line might not be perfect and the price might just come crack it and go back inside of it. We see those types of situations happen a lot. So you got to be aware of that. So this area that I drew here was off the 1 hour time frame. Let me just pull that fib for you again. Right, so that's my 618, 50% Fibonacci retracement. And I created this zone with it. So I'm thinking if price gets into that zone, we could be looking to turn around, right? So I'm going to watch to see how this is building. This piece of price action here. I'm going to watch to see how it's building. And then I'm going to try to see if I get to sell off that break. This entire piece here could be one corrective formation by itself, right? This 1, 2, 3, that could be 3 waves to this 1, 2, and this could be the third wave to the upside. So if we break this high or touch this high, we could be coming flat, then go up or just drop. Okay, so either way, I'm looking for a sell. All right, so we're coming down. And this could still evolve. It could still evolve. It's very crazy the way how this entire formation here could evolve and become even bigger. Hit that subscribe button, guys. Hit that notification bell. Remember, anyone who stays with me until the end of the live stream, you will get a vacation package. I'll tell you guys how to get that. Okay, we're breaking down. But doesn't look like it wants to break down, does it? Let me see. Right, you see this candle here? This could be the candle that's actually supporting the trend, right? But we're looking at this one, and the price is kind of cracking that trend line. And this goes back to what I was trying to say. We need to be very careful when we're drawing trend lines, because a lot of us don't understand how to draw trend lines, and that's why we get trapped with them. The market makers know. They know exactly what you're going to do. They know exactly how you're going to draw these trend lines. They told you how to draw these trend lines. So over years of experience, that's how I understood from trial and error how to draw trend lines and how not to get caught with those trend line breaks that look like they're happening, but they're not happening, right? So that's what happened just here, just a moment ago. One of the things that I do is I use the ray. So I click the ray on and I bring this like that, right? So this would be a nice trend line. So this is good, not too bad. Right? So this is good. You saw how they just wicked out of it and pushed back inside. Good. All right. So we're heading for that 618, 50% 618 zone. Let's see what's going to happen there. We also hit the top. Okay. So this is the double top type area. So we're going to look at possibly getting this, and then maybe one more up, or we get this and then the price comes down, right? So that's a possibility, okay? Or we simply get price giving us this, and price does this, right? That's a possibility, okay? We will see which one unfolds. Support the channel, guys. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Who's with me today? I know we normally have, there's one student I can always count on, and that's Pratt. If I'm saying the name correct. A student from India. Who's with me today? All right, so price kind of gave us this fake move to the downside. It's pushing back up again. Let's see what's happening. We're heading into this 618 50% fib retracement area. That's one of my areas of interest. Just an area of interest, guys, okay? And also the fact that we broke this high, that could also mean that this could be one wave like this, right? So that's one wave, and then this entire thing could be one wave by itself, okay? So this could end up being something like 1, 2, 3, like that, okay? So this is WXY, and this is probably X, and then this is Z. So this could be our last wave to the upside, possibly our last wave, or it could be something like this, and then this, and then this, or then that, then that. So many possibilities, okay? I'm just preparing, guys. Don't mind me. I'm just getting ready, checking to see what the possibilities are. Right? The market makers think they're smart, but I'm ready for them. Okay, so it looks like we could be getting some action. We'll see. So we did hit that 50% 618 area, and we got this heavy red bar coming in, right? We're not going to sell based on that. We're going to pay attention to what's happening. And we're looking for a trend break, right? So I'm going to look for either this one or this one to break. This one is from the bottom here, so this might be saying this is one wave up, right? So if this is one wave up, once it breaks down from that trend line and I sell, I should be getting to the bottom, or I should be getting this 1, 2, 3 type wave, and then price goes back to the upside. Okay? I don't think this one is valuable anymore. That one's not valuable anymore. I'm supposed to leave early today, so I'm just trying to see if I can catch another trade. This is the bounce off the A zone. This is good. If price goes back up to this A zone, it's telling me that possibly price may want to go to the upside, or we are in some sort of correction, right? Some sort of big consolidation happening in price. Right? See this aggressive move down? If this aggressive move down doesn't continue taking us down, it comes back here. It could come here again, then go back to the upside. So we need to be careful with that. So we need to know how we're looking at price. So let's go back to the 1 minute. We got that bounce off that 50% 618 fib area. on the 1 hour bar. The price is moving slowly to the upside, and that tells us something as well. That tells us that there is a possibility that the reason why the price is moving slow is because there isn't much momentum or volatility to the upside. Okay, so we have a bigger bar coming in. So they're pushing heavy to the upside. Not really heavy, but they're pushing up stronger than they're coming down. So the market makers are buying this up. So the price is going up because the market makers are buying. Okay? And the retail traders are selling. That's why the price is going up. They're just stopping traders out. So we have surpassed that 50% 61.8 area on the Fib retracement. Okay? So no longer valuable. For some reason, it's not clicking this rectangle. So not valuable anymore. All right, I think I spot something that looks like a gap. Is it? Yes, there is a gap here. So that tells us that price may want to come back to the downside. So we're going to watch this move to the upside. We're looking for a sell. Okay? So I'm going to trend this again. Not making that trend line too aggressive. And I'm looking for a sell. If price hits my A zone, then I will sell, but price would have to break the trend first. Okay? So this is my next level where I can possibly get a sell at that A zone. There's also a potential trend to the downside. Right? Potential trend to the downside. This could just be an internal wave, internal corrective wave to go down. So we're looking for that sell. If we hit this A zone, we could look for that sell. This is a deep retracement that we're getting. So whenever price comes down to a down zone, whenever price comes down, hits a zone down, we're looking for shorts. We're not looking for buys because it could come down. Yes, it could go back to the upside, but if it corrects like this, we look for a short, right? This is a correction that started here, so we're looking for a short. If it comes back here, we're still looking for a short to the downside. But if it goes sideways after breaking down from the trend line, if it keeps going sideways, then there is a possibility that we may not get a short. It may come back to the upside, right? So we're going to trend that correction. And if price breaks out, we close that trade and we look to go long. All right. So here is another sign that price may want to pull down. We came to this 200 MA. We have this sort of like a, what kind of bar is this again? Like a pin bar, right? So let's see how price reacts here. We have our trend lines. We're looking for the breakdown of our trend lines, right? So if it breaks down from this one, that means that it's likely to come back to this one. If it breaks down from this one, then we could be falling all the way back to this C zone over here, right? So our next target to the downside is going to be the C zone. If price gets up to the A zone, we're still looking to see if we get a sell back to the downside. But if price gets here, then certain things will change in terms of our targets. Hit that subscribe button, guys. Hit the notification bell. Support the channel. Remember, guys, anyone who watches my live stream until the end, at the end of the live stream, I will be giving a vacation package. All you need to be is a subscriber. You need to have hit that notification bell, hit that like button, and send me a screenshot. That's it. If you're with me, let me know that you're with me. Feel free. We can have conversations. I'd be more than happy to share information about the markets with you guys. It's not a problem. Coming here is not just to watch, it's also an opportunity to learn something. Okay, so let this be a learning opportunity as well for you guys, not just entertainment. Okay, so I did have a rough start when I began because I kept trying to move my stop into break even, and the price was very, very choppy. So I kept getting stopped out a lot. So I ended up with a steep drawdown, but then I decided to not move my stop into break even too soon, and that made a big difference. So the account started to go back to the upside again. Okay. So there was a little bit of a struggle in the beginning. What I'm looking to do is trade. I started off with 500 US dollars and I wanted to trade this to $1 million, right? As fast as possible. So it's very, how can I say, aggressive trading. I'm going in with a lot of risk. We're seeing price starting to push to the downside. We have this trend line. I'm going to maintain this trend line. I'm not going to rush into my trades because the moves down don't necessarily mean that the price is going to go down, right? It's just coming back. It's just a pullback. Could be for more upside, could be bouncing off that trend line, going back to the upside. You don't want to be too hasty, okay? We have this big 1 hour, is it 1 hour? Yes, we have this big 1 hour bar here. It's green. This bar needs to close red, right? If this bar closes red, that would be lovely. So we have like a little bit over 30 minutes left on this 1 hour bar. So it could start to go back to the downside if it's going to remain bearish, right? So I'm watching the 1 hour bar as well. And I'm also watching to see what's happening over here. I'm also watching the clock, right? I'm watching the clock because if this 1 hour bar closes green, then that means that potentially price could continue going up. It could just pull back and then continue going up, right? So we need to watch that. Remember, guys, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit the like button, support the channel. Remember, this is not just for your entertainment. It is also an opportunity to learn. So we have hit that trend where we haven't hit the trend line yet, but we have broken the low and we're coming back to this trend line. Let's see if we're going to bounce. This could be where we start going down. All right, that's a nice convincing break. One second. All right, so that's a nice convincing break to the downside. We did leave a gap. I think I told you guys we left a gap behind, right? Where was that gap again? It was right around here. So that's price coming back, trying to fill that gap that they left behind. Let me just put a little line in just to show you guys where that gap is. Right, so that gap was there. That was price pulling back, trying to fill that gap. Look at what they're doing, pushing back aggressively to the upside. That's why we don't rush into trades. We need to watch and see what's happening. I am going to sell when price breaks this trend line. Okay, this one is a minor trend line. It does not mean that once it breaks that the price will fall. Okay, it could mean that price is correcting and then price is going to go back to the upside. It could also fall at that level, but it's not very common. So right now, price is in a corrective formation to push further to the upside. So let's see what's going on here. Sideways move, pushed up. Adjust this trend line like this. Normally when the high is broken, that's when you adjust your trend line. But if price pushes up more than 50%, I like to adjust my trend line. Okay? It's just an early way to understand what the trend is going to be. And this is a minor trend, guys. Minor. It's not a major trend. For this corrective formation, this line, I would consider this one to be the major trend line of this correction to the upside. So remember, guys, I said that this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Remember I said that? I don't know if you were with me at the time when I said that, but you can always go back into the video and you will see that I predicted that price could move like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we start coming down, right? All right. If you're with me, feel free, ask your questions. I'm more than happy to answer. Any questions about the markets is fine. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. I do have vacation packages to give away. I'd like to build this channel as quick as possible. It's something that I meant to do many years ago, but I was too busy working for other education companies, building automatic trading software, building indicators, things like that. So I didn't really have the time to do the live streams and to do the YouTube stuff. And I'm not someone who really likes to be on camera much. So I just decided, you know what? It's that time. It's that time. It's that time to share what you have with the world. It's time to give value. It's time to give back. So here we are pushing up. For some reason, I find a lot of people on YouTube, they prefer the latter part of the day over the earlier part of the day. I guess maybe most of you guys are at work. If you're with me, let me know in the chat box. Let's have a conversation. I'll be more than happy. All right, so I'm seeing a sign here that price could potentially want to come back to the downside. So that's a sign, just an early sign that we could potentially want to come back to the downside. This high was not broken, right? Came here, made a lower high. Let's see if they come take out this low. But I'm looking for an early entry would be the break of this trend line. But I'd really like to see a break of this trend line, right? Early entry would be here. I don't want to pull the trigger too fast because I know that the market makers are tricky. So I need to see something that's a bit convincing. This could still be sideways move, right? For a push up into that area before they come back down. But I'm looking for them to break down and get to this C zone. This, what we're looking at, I'm thinking that this is 1, 2, 3 up, and we start coming back to break that low at the downside. Okay, on the 1 hour time frame, we're coming back to break this low over here. So this is the start of the move down, a correction. This is what I'm banking on, that this is a correction, and then we break down. It's 2:30 already, so we should start seeing some volatility coming into the market shortly. And this is around the time where I should be leaving. And I'm still sitting in front of the computer. All right, so let's see if I'm going to be able to catch that aggressive move to the downside or if I'm going to get caught up. Okay, so we're breaking down. So this is just a setup to kind of show that if this becomes a flag, it's just going to go sideways and then continue moving up, right? I see we have a Mr. Saturday. Hopefully you don't miss your appointment. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping not. I'm not half ready yet. Okay, so the fact that I didn't see much speed come into the market, I'm thinking that this is just maybe another correction, right? Like something like this, like you get 1, you get 2, you get 3, and then we possibly go back up like that, right? So that's a possibility. Possibility. When you're trading, you have to always look out for the possibilities. Here's another possibility, right? It could do this, then come back here like that, and then go up like that, right? And this would just be like a flat in here. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Go back to the upside. So we are still in a situation where the price could remain in consolidation, right? However, these patterns that I'm drawing are perfect scenarios of what those patterns will unfold to be, right? The market makers love to manipulate these patterns, especially the third wave of these patterns, right? So if this one is supposed to come down, this would be the third wave, right? So it's supposed to go back to the upside, according to this being 1, 2, 3, go back up. They could simply push this one down, right? And just keep dropping. So that's why I'm looking for my trend break. And I'm not necessarily following the pattern. The pattern only helps me to forecast what the possibilities are. It doesn't tell me that it's going to do exactly that, what I forecasted. It just helps me to understand what those possibilities can be. Okay? Remember, Elliott wave theory, not necessarily a, okay, good, we're breaking down. Oops, gotta get this off. I'm gonna take that sell, and my stop is going to be a little bigger than I like, $55. And so the first thing I like to do is set my stops. And then I look to set my profit targets, right? profit target. I'm going to set my profit target to the D. Right? Right there. That's where my profit target's going to be. All right. So this is looking good. Look how fast we came down and look how far we are already. So I'm hoping that this one continues to come down and this does not evolve into a bigger corrective formation before we go down, right? So far, it's not looking that way. It could continue pushing to the downside, nice and aggressive. Did it leave behind a gap? No, it filled it. Good. So this is looking more convincing for downside, okay? So we could have taken this trade a little bit earlier over here, but it was still tricky in this area because the possibility of going back up was still there. And you can see that with that green bar, right? But we allowed it to confirm by breaking down from the main trend line, okay? Now what we can do now is just move our stops, move our stops into break even. Nothing much, just move it into break even. And this is going to help us to mitigate risk, right? So now we are in a risk-free trade. All right. Looking good so far. So our next area of interest is this C zone, right? Let me try to push this C zone out a little bit. Where am I going to bring it over to? Okay, we're bouncing at that trend line down here. It's expected that we're going to bounce at that trend line because we can still be in some sort of bigger corrective formation, and that's why you want to make sure that you move your stop to break even. Okay, so if this one is going to push back to the upside, we are protected. If it's not and we're going to break down, we're good. Okay, so let's see how this is going to play out. I'm going to bring this over 22. Okay, we're pushing back to the upside a little bit on the aggressive side. All right, so they may want to come back, stop us out, create a bigger corrective formation. If that's what they're going to do, then I'm going to be done for the day because the time may run out on me and we may just be stuck in this area. All right, so I don't want to be stuck in this area here. So if they're not going to go down and I get stopped out, I'm done. You guys can see the reason why the price is reacting the way it's reacting here because of this pattern that was potentially forming here for price to go down. So price came back to that level and that's why they reacted the way that they're reacting. You can see there is a red bar here. It's because of this trend line. So the market makers, they use these areas to create support, resistance, to accumulate buyers and sellers. So everything that has been done before plays a role into the future. Mr. Saturday said, I missed this one. It broke down faster than I anticipated. It did break down fast. And they knew that it was going to come down fast because they knew that everyone was looking to buy at those levels. And because most participants were looking to buy at those levels and probably did buy with that green bar, when they bought, they just dropped the price aggressively against them to stop them out fast, right? So right now they're kind of going flat. This is a sign that they may want to go up, right? However, it could still break down. And if it breaks down, that's going to be in our favor. It's going to go back to the downside. We get to our profit target eventually, most likely, if they intend to come down here today, because it's already 240, right? So things could start to cool off very soon. This is the last push of the day. It's going to be pushing down, or they're going to be pushing this up. Right now, this 1 hour bar is still red, and that's a good sign that that 1 hour bar is red. If that 1 hour bar closes green, then no. I'm not going to be looking forward to staying inside of this trade because it's most likely going to be going up. So I want this 1 hour bar to stay red as long as possible. So the longer it stays red, the more likely we are to go down. So if it continues to grow to the downside as a red bar, that's going to be a good sign. So far, it looks like on the 1 minute, they're building some sort of corrective formation for upside. But there is no guarantee that that corrective formation will break up. It could break down as well. Like you can see what they did here. They kind of broke it down, then they pushed it back up, which is the kind of thing that I was showing you with the pennant, with the triangle. Instead of breaking in the direction that you guys are expecting, they may break in the opposite direction, then bring it back in the direction that you were expecting. That's just to grab liquidity, flush out buyers and sellers. It's manipulation. Okay? So when I trade, I use my zones. Price comes down, it hits a zone, I'm out. It goes up, it hits a zone, I'm out. I look for a correction, trend the correction, it breaks out, I'm in. That's how I trade. Price goes to the D zone here, I trended the move down. When it breaks out from that trend to the downside, I buy. I buy it to an A zone. Hits the A zone, I'm out. Trend the move up to the A zone. If it breaks down, I sell. If it goes down to the next A zone, then I'm out again. Okay, so it looks like we're going to get stopped out on this one, and we got stopped out. On one of my accounts, I got stopped out already. Now this one, I got stopped out. So they gave us a trap. So this looks like it's going to be caught inside of this area for a little bit longer. So we already have that trend line. So I'm just going to extend that. So we can see already what they're building. We don't need this. What did I delete? Don't need that. Don't need that. Okay, we may still need that one. So I'll leave that one on. Don't need this. Don't need this. Don't need this. Or I'll leave that one on. This could still be an area where they create like resistance and price starts to turn back to the downside. So that's still a possibility, right? So what are we in? Are we in something that looks like this? Or are we in something that looks like this? Right, so I'm just preparing, trying to find out. Okay, it may be more like this, right? I think it's possibly more like this. It's either like this or it's going to be like this. Okay, we hit this area, so this could be an area where price may want to reject and come back to the downside. So what am I going to do? I'm going to pull out Mr. Old Faithful, Mr. Trendline, Don't put him on too tight. And I'm going to wait. Let's see if we get a re-entry. But bear in mind, we're caught up inside of this bigger type corrective formation. Okay? So this is already something that is suspect. Price could stay inside here. I'm leaving this one on because it's possible this could be the line that they respect. This is 1, 2, 3 up. It could still drop, right? But we need to be careful with it because we saw price come here and bounce back to the upside. So it's telling you that this line has significance in the market. This trend has significance in the market. And this could just be a bigger pattern that's forming here. This could be 1, 2, 3. No, this is 1, 2. This is 3. This is 4. And they come back up for 5 and then they go down. Right? So this could be like an expanding triangle or an expanding, how do you guys call it? Wedge or a diagonal formation, right? So this one could be going back to the upside. So we need to be careful with it. All right, guys, I'm going to leave this on. I'll be back. I'm just going to try to get ready, and I'll be back in a few. Okay, guys? Hopefully I don't miss the trade. It's kind of looking like it wants to break down again. I know the last push could be very nice. Let me give it a few more seconds. See if I catch this one. Hoping they don't trap me with that trend line break. Okay, we broke. I will sell. And I will sell. And I will protect here. And I will protect here. Right? So this could be a situation where the price wants to stay inside of this trend that you see here. It may want to stay inside here, build a bigger correction. But we got this breakdown. So the possibility of price coming down and breaking out is likely, right? So if it comes back and we get stopped out, then we know that it's probably building a bigger wave to the upside before it goes down, right? So let's watch this one. I'll leave this one on and let's set our profit targets in the event that price comes our way. I'm looking for this level. May or may not get to that level before the day comes to an end, but we'll see. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go get ready. I'll leave you guys with this one. Okay, guys? I'll be right back with you guys. All right, guys, I'm back, and we got stopped out of that trade. Let me just bring that trade up. Right, so this is where our stop was. We entered here on the break. The price danced around a bit, and it did not break down. It broke up. So this is the type of formation that it created. See, this came flat. And normally this is supposed to break down, as you guys know. And it did not, because as I said, we could be inside of this trend line, this type of pattern here, building a bigger move to the upside, and that's exactly what happened. Price built a bigger move to the upside, giving us this type of like trap type formation for a down move, and we didn't get that. We didn't get that down move. Price broke up, got stopped out. Price got to our A zone to the upside, so this resets our entire movement, right? So this basically means that, let's see here, let me just erase this. Price could come back to the downside. We're looking at this trend line now, right? So we're looking at this trend line. Once this trend line breaks to the downside, we could see price pulling back to the downside, but we have to be careful because it could correct and then continue moving up, right? So that's something that we need to look out for as well. I see Mr. Saturday was saying, what about vacation package? Are you still with me, Mr. Saturday? Are you still with me, Mr. Saturday? You can always come back. Mr. Saturday, are you still with me? Who's with me right now? I'm about to try to give away the vacation package. I'm bringing the live stream to an end. Who's with me right now? I'm about to give away the vacation package. If you're with me, give me a hello in the chat box. I'll give you guys a few seconds just to say hello in the chat box so I can know who I'm going to give the vacation package to. Okay, so no one is responding. All right, so guys, catch my next live stream. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit that like button, and I'll see you guys next time on my next live stream. Bye bye for now. Have yourselves a wonderful day.